There are pieces of music that children would always recognise, such as this one from my childhood. Everyone knew the music that went with the ad for Cadbury's Fruit and Nut. And then, more recently, ooh, my phone's got that ringtone. Now, I find this doesn't happen nearly so much. The music of the 17th, 18th, 19th and 20th centuries is quietly slipping out of our lives, and I think that's a shame, as it's such terrific stuff. Hello, my name is Hannah. I've been teaching the flute here at King Alfred School for over 30 years, and my ethos is that you don't have to be rich to have a rich life. I've always loved that our school motto is Ex Corde Vita, out of the heart springs life. What does my teaching mean to me? Well, as well as learning facts and skills, I really hope that I help my students experience what it is to feel. And what better way to do that than with music, which expresses everything without the need for words or image. Education is in place to prepare us for our working lives, but I've always felt that it also really needs to help us get the most out of our time when we aren't at work. My A-levels were art with art history, German and English. I absolutely love going to art galleries. When I'm on holiday, I really like to draw the beautiful plate of tomatoes I've bought in the French market. I've listened to a lot of German song and read an awful lot of 19th century English, French and American fiction. My schooling turned out to be great training for my free time. None of this is my work. During sixth form, I decided I'd really like to play the flute, so I auditioned for conservatoire, and here I am, teaching lots of people and playing myself. I feel very lucky that I have an artistic life, rich indeed. So, if education can enable grown-ups to enjoy nature, a castle, a gallery, a play, or a sport, why does it generally not steer people in the direction of a symphony, a sonata, or a string quartet? These also have much to offer. It saddens me that a wide spectrum of music is disappearing out of modern life. Education should give everyone the opportunity to discover things that they would not have found on their own, and crucially, to find what makes their soul sing. People love music, but most only access a tiny, tiny percentage of what's out there. That tiny percentage they will find on their own without the need for teachers. It's the vast other that they need to be introduced to. Looking round the open evening at my excellent local secondary school a number of years ago, I asked the music teacher if they listened to much classical music. "We do Pachelbel's canon in year 8, was his memorable reply. Well, that was great, but that was just one piece in 3 years of class music lessons. Most children today are simply deprived of the chance to find out if they like a wider range of music. So, in a bid to help my students and their families, and anyone else who is interested, to have the opportunity to access more varied music, I started a project back in the beginning of 2024 called Listen of the Week. Each week, I send out a link to a piece of music that I feel is excellent, excellently well played, and importantly, not longer than 5 minutes. I write a little about the music, the composer, and the artists, and I invite responses. We have listened to music by Hildegard of Bingen, written in the early 1100s, right through to that of Astor Piazzolla, who died in the 1990s. It's my aim to give my audience a way in to this wonderfully wide world. We started with an overture. Where else? And I chose Mozart's opera, The Marriage of Figaro. Recognize that one? Next came Saint-Saëns' Elegant Swan from the Carnival of the Animals. 2 pretty well-known tunes. The third week, I picked something I really didn't think anyone was going to know. So you can quietly pat yourself on the back if you recognise this one. That was, of course, the second movement of the Sextet for Piano and Winds by Francis Poulenc. I was delighted when many of my students told me that this was their favourite so far. They probably would never have found this music on their own. More recently, we have taken a 5-week journey through Verdi's opera La Traviata. When I sent out the prelude to Act 1, I got a child's response in an email from their mum. It simply said, sad, smiling emoji, and sad, sad, crying emoji. Spot on. I would say that this absolutely sums up, in the fewest possible words, the prelude to Act 1 of Traviata. The sender was 5 years old. They had responded completely naturally to what they had heard. The response went on to say, makes me want to watch the whole opera. I'm really hoping that about now, you might be feeling that you might like to go and find some music that perhaps you hadn't thought of listening to before, and opening yourself up to all that it has to offer. All you need is the inclination, your ears, and a little bit of time. So, what better way for me to finish than with a beautiful line of flute music written in the early 1700s by the prolific German composer Georg Philipp Telemann. Remember that school motto, ex corde vita, out of the heart springs life. Let the music reach out across the centuries and touch you.